Most people look at a cat and see just a small creature, quiet, graceful, mysterious. But I see something deeper. I see nature itself expressing balance. I see stillness that hides tremendous power. You watch the way a cat moves, the way it breathes, the way it observes, and you begin to realize this is not just an animal. This is life showing you how to flow without resistance. Edgar Cayce once spoke of the hidden energy behind these beings, of their purpose in restoring harmony where chaos lives. And now, that truth is revealing itself right before our eyes. The question is not what cats are doing, it's what they're teaching us to become. There is a stillness that exists between you and the world when you are truly aware. A presence that doesn't speak in words, but in energy. Cats live in that stillness. They move through it, breathe it, and understand it better than most human beings ever will. You see, a cat is not just a creature of instinct. It is a creature of perception. It sees what the eye cannot and senses what the heart tries to ignore. That is why when you bring a cat into your home, you are not simply sharing space with an animal. You are inviting a guardian of unseen realms to walk beside you. People often underestimate the depth of their presence. They see the calm gaze of a cat and mistake it for indifference. But in truth, that gaze is the reflection of everything happening within you. Cats absorb and redirect energy. When your mind is chaotic, they withdraw. When your heart is restless, they sit near you, not because they understand your words, but because they feel your vibration. They are mirrors of your inner state. That is why the ancient mystics and even modern intuitives like Cayce spoke of them as protectors of energy, sentinels that move silently between the spiritual and physical world. Have you ever noticed how a cat sometimes stares into empty space, or suddenly shifts its attention toward a corner of the room where nothing seems to exist? It is not random. What they see is not defined by our limited vision. Their awareness expands beyond the visible spectrum into energies, movements, and presences we are too distracted to notice. In ancient temples, cats were kept not for worship, but for balance. They stabilized the unseen energy of sacred spaces. They could sense imbalance long before it manifested. That wisdom still exists today. Only now, it lives quietly in your living room. To live with a cat is to live with a teacher of stillness. They teach you to slow down, to watch, to listen. Not with your ears, but with your being. When you come home from the storm of daily life, filled with tension, your cat often sits nearby, seemingly indifferent. But that stillness is an offering. It is a reminder that energy must be cleansed not through action, but through calm awareness. The cat absorbs and transforms what is heavy in you, returning the environment to equilibrium. It is their way of keeping your inner space clean. And when you begin to notice this exchange, you realize something profound. Your cat is not just protecting your home, it is protecting your spirit. It detects the subtle waves of stress and discord that ripple from your thoughts. It knows when you are anxious before you do. It can feel the heaviness in your chest before you speak it aloud. And rather than reacting, it simply exists, anchored, patient, present. That presence is its protection. This is why in ancient cultures, cats were revered as gatekeepers between worlds. They did not belong entirely to one realm. They drifted effortlessly between matter and energy, carrying with them a silent understanding that life is not just what we see, it's what we feel. Cayce's prediction wasn't about cats suddenly gaining mystical powers. It was about humanity finally becoming aware of what was always there. We are entering an age where energy matters more than appearance, where vibration shapes reality, and in that world, creatures like cats reveal their true nature. They are not your pets, they are your reminders. They remind you to protect your peace, to observe without judgment, to remain aware in motion and still in chaos. Watch a cat move. Each step is deliberate. precise, effortless. They don't hurry, they don't force, they don't chase, they flow. That is the secret of energy mastery. That is what they teach without ever saying a word. And when you begin to live like that, you start to notice what they've been guarding all along the energy within you. They've been showing you how to carry it, how to protect it, how to align it. You realize that the true guardian isn't the cat. It's the part of you that learns from the cat. Energy is life. Awareness is mastery. To understand your cat is to understand your own stillness. You begin to feel what they feel, to sense the room's balance, to withdraw when energy turns dark, to sit in quiet power rather than react. This is not about superstition, it's about sensitivity. It's about the art of perceiving what most people overlook, the subtle shifts that shape reality before it ever takes form. So when your cat sits by you in silence, don't overlook it. When it stares into space, don't laugh it off. When it curls beside you on nights when your heart feels heavy, understand that something sacred is happening. Energy is being balanced. Stillness is being restored. And your guardian, your teacher of silence and perception, is at work. Protect your energy the way your cat protects its space. With quiet confidence, with awareness, with calm strength. For in mastering your energy, you master your life. There are no accidents in the flow of life, only encounters that carry purpose. When a cat chooses you, it is not a coincidence. It is a silent recognition of energy, a meeting of frequencies that were meant to align. A cat does not follow commands. It does not obey authority. It comes to those whose presence it accepts, whose energy it resonates with. That choice is sacred, for it reveals that there is something within you that matches something within them. You may think you adopted your cat, but in truth, it chose you. It saw beyond your words, beyond your movement. It saw your vibration. It felt your stillness and your storms, your confusion and your calm. It sensed something incomplete, something waiting to awaken, and that is why it stayed. Every time a cat enters a person's life, it carries a mission, a quiet task that exists beyond the limits of language. Some come to heal, some come to guide, some come simply to remind you of what peace feels like. Observe closely. When you're angry, your cat withdraws. When you're sad, it appears. When your mind is scattered, it stares at you unblinking, steady, grounded. That is no random behavior. It is alignment at work. The cat doesn't need to understand your pain to respond to it. It reads energy the way we read words. It knows when your heart is restless, when your soul is unbalanced. And rather than speak, it teaches you through presence. That is what people often forget. The greatest lessons in life are not taught through words, but through energy. A cat does not lecture. It does not explain. It shows you how to exist with grace, how to move through life with awareness instead of reaction. It moves with purpose yet without effort. It flows without forcing. When you watch it, you are watching a reflection of harmony, a creature completely in tune with itself. You see, the connection between you and your cat is not physical, it is vibrational. When Cayce spoke of animals as instruments of higher purpose, he was referring to this invisible thread that binds energies together. Humans, often lost in the noise of their own thoughts, forget how to feel. But animals, especially cats, remain awake to the unseen. They remember the original language of the universe energy. When your cat looks into your eyes, it is not looking at your appearance. It is feeling the pulse of your inner state. It knows when you are aligned and when you are not. That look, steady, unshaken, is not judgment, it is awareness. It's as if it's reminding you, you have forgotten what calm feels like. Return to it. That's the mission it carries, to bring you back to your natural rhythm. Sometimes a cat comes into your life after loss, sometimes after chaos, sometimes after you have forgotten how to be still. It appears at the exact moment you are ready to learn what you once ignored. that healing does not always roar. Sometimes it purrs. Healing is not an act of force. It is a state of balance. That is what your cat mirrors for you daily. When you sit beside it, when it curls into your lap and breathes in rhythm with you, something unseen is exchanged. You don't have to understand it with your mind. You feel it in your being. That connection can shift your entire way of living. You start noticing things you once dismissed, the energy in a room, the calm after silence, the way emotion moves through the body. You become more aware, more centered. This is no small transformation. It's awakening. And the one who triggered it doesn't speak a word. It simply lives truthfully, fully, and naturally. And by being itself, it invites you to do the same. We often believe spiritual teachers must be human, must speak, must write, must explain. But the greatest teachers are those who remind us of simplicity. The cat teaches that mastery is not in control, but in flow. It shows that strength does not need to shout. It only needs to be centered. It demonstrates that peace is not found. It is remembered. And when you begin to live like that, when you start to feel more than you think, to flow more than you resist, you and your cat become reflections of the same energy. The relationship becomes one of shared awareness. You learn from each other, you heal each other, and you balance each other. It's a partnership of spirit disguised as companionship. You were not chosen by chance. There is no randomness in energy. Every bond, every encounter carries meaning. And in this connection, your cat's purpose is not just to protect or comfort. It is to awaken, to help you rediscover that calm strength you have buried under noise. So when you see those steady eyes watching you in silence, understand something ancient is looking back at you, something that recognizes your light, your potential, your imbalance, your becoming. It knows what you are capable of when you remember your center. The cat chose you not for who you are now, but for who you can become. The world is changing faster than most realize. Every day, we move deeper into an age where energy and awareness matter more than words or appearances. Humanity is waking up to the truth that reality is not built from what we can touch. It's shaped by what we can feel. And that shift is why Edgar Cayce's prediction about cats is not just an old story. It's unfolding right now, in this very moment, in our homes and our hearts. Look around. More people are beginning to notice that their cats behave differently, more intuitively. They come near when anxiety rises, disappear when tension fills the air, and return when balance is restored. This isn't coincidence. It's consciousness meeting awareness. What was once dismissed as superstition or animal instinct is now being understood as energetic intelligence. The world Cayce described, a world where cats help regulate unseen energy, is becoming visible through science experience and spiritual awakening. You see, cats have always lived in tune with vibration. Long before we began speaking of frequency, emotion, or electromagnetic fields, they were already fluent in that language, the hum of energy that flows through every living being. They read it effortlessly. That's why when you feel uneasy, your cat avoids your touch. It's not rejection, it's sensitivity. It knows your energy is dissonant. And when you calm yourself, it approaches again, not because it forgives you, but because harmony has returned. It lives according to the law of resonance, a law most humans have forgotten. But now, as our awareness expands, we are beginning to live in that law too. We are noticing how thought shapes emotion, how emotion shapes health, and how energy shapes the world. And in this collective awakening, cats are serving their ancient purpose again, to remind us how to live aligned with nature, with rhythm, with truth. The prophecy Cayce gave wasn't about cats becoming more mystical. It was about humans finally being ready to understand them. In today's world, stress and noise dominate every space. Minds are restless, emotions scattered. energy has become chaotic, and that imbalance ripples into the unseen. Yet, in the middle of all that noise, the cat remains still, silent, centered. It does not absorb chaos, it observes it. It teaches through example that peace is not the absence of noise, it's the mastery of response. That is why people find comfort simply by watching their cat sleep or stretch or walk. It isn't just cute, it's healing. Their calm resets your nervous system. Their rhythm reawakens yours. Think about it. When a cat curls beside you as you sit in thought, it is not seeking warmth, it is grounding you. When it places its paw upon your chest, it's feeling the pulse of your energy. It senses where you are unbalanced, and through its quiet companionship, it stabilizes what words cannot reach. That is what Cayce meant when he said, cats carry healing potential. They serve as bridges between the visible and invisible worlds. And this understanding is spreading now because humanity is becoming sensitive again. The same awareness that allows people to sense energies, to meditate deeply, to heal through intention. It's the same awareness that helps us finally see what our cats have been showing us all along. We're not discovering something new, we're remembering something ancient. The more disconnected people become from nature, the more vital this connection grows. In a world of machines and noise, the cat remains untouched, pure, instinctive. It does not conform to the artificial rhythms of man. It follows the pulse of life itself. That's why people who live with cats often find moments of unexpected clarity, peace, and emotional release. They're being realigned through presence. The cat doesn't force this upon you. It invites you to meet it in stillness. There's a quiet message hidden in that behavior. It's as if the cat is saying, the energy of your world is loud, but the truth within you is still. Return there. That's the wisdom Cayce foresaw humanity would need. The ability to reconnect with subtlety, to sense energy not as theory, but as experience. And as that awakening spreads, more people are beginning to realize their cats have always known. They've been protecting the balance of homes, absorbing discord, and radiating calm. It's not a new phenomenon. It's just now being recognized. What's happening now is a reuniting of awareness. Science calls it bioresonance, spirituality calls it vibration, but cats simply call it life. They live in flow with it. They remind us that true intelligence is not in complication, it's in alignment. Watch how they move, how they sense before they act, how they choose observation over reaction. In a world addicted to speed, their patience is wisdom. The prophecy is alive, not because something new is beginning, but because humanity is finally quiet enough to notice. And as that awareness deepens, you start to realize that your cat is not a passive companion. It's a participant in your growth. It is helping you see energy, feel energy, and live from it. That is what Cayce meant when he spoke of this time. This era when the unseen would become seen, when the invisible fabric of life would begin to reveal itself through our closest relationships. You don't need proof, you only need presence. The truth reveals itself in silence. So when you see your cat today, calm, steady, unbothered by the world's noise, understand that it's showing you how to live in the moment this world has become. It's reminding you that awareness is protection, that energy is reality, and that peace begins where noise ends. What was once prophecy is now practice. And it's happening through you right now. To truly understand the relationship between humans and cats, you must first release the idea of ownership. You cannot own what is free by nature. A cat does not belong to you. It walks beside you. It chooses to share space with you because your energy allows it. That choice alone carries deep meaning. When you start to see your cat not as a pet, but as a partner, everything changes. The connection shifts from possession to presence, from control to communion. Cats are not here to be dominated, trained, or molded. They are here to remind you of what it means to be in harmony with life. Watch how they move, fluid, effortless, awake. They don't chase approval. They don't bend to expectations. They simply are. That is why people often find cats mysterious. They embody freedom, and freedom makes people uncomfortable. Yet within that freedom lies the lesson we all need to learn: to live in alignment, not attachment. When you treat a cat as a partner, you begin to communicate differently. You stop demanding and you start listening. You stop seeking affection as validation, and you begin to appreciate silence as connection. That silence is sacred. In that stillness, something beyond words is exchanged. It's the meeting of two conscious beings, each respecting the other's individuality, while sharing a space of trust. This shift in perception mirrors something much greater. It's the transformation humanity is moving toward. The world teaches ownership. Own things, own success, own people. But life itself cannot be owned. The more you try to possess, the more you lose connection. Cats exist as a living contradiction to this mindset. They don't cling, they don't beg, they don't obey. Yet they love deeply in their own way, freely, purely, without demand. That is not disobedience, it is awareness. Cayce's understanding of cats was not about worship, it was about recognition. He saw them as vessels of spiritual intelligence, beings who carried the natural balance that humans lost when they traded awareness for control. To him, a cat's independence was not arrogance, it was wisdom. It was a reminder that the greatest relationships are built not on control but on mutual respect. When your cat curls beside you, it is not surrendering, it is trusting. When it walks away, it is not rejecting, it is maintaining balance. It knows that closeness and distance both serve the flow of energy. It never clings, because clinging disrupts peace. In that, there is a profound teaching: love without possession, presence without demand, connection without control. That is true partnership. We humans could learn much from that way of being. We often destroy peace by trying to hold on to it. We smother love by trying to secure it. We chase control and in doing so, lose harmony. The cat, however, moves differently. It teaches you that love cannot be caged. It must breathe. It teaches that presence is stronger than words. It teaches that energy shared willingly has more power than anything taken by force. When you start seeing your cat as your energetic equal, as a conscious being rather than property, you begin to shift the energy in your home. Your interactions become exchanges, not transactions. The cat teaches you about boundaries, about the balance between solitude and connection, and about the sacredness of space. It helps you become aware of energy flow, how tension feels heavy, how calm feels clear, how presence feels alive. This is why, throughout history, cats were often found near spiritual teachers and healers. They gravitate toward environments of clarity. Their very existence refines the energy around them. They live in harmony with life's rhythm, sensing when to act, when to retreat, and when to simply be. That balance is their power. Imagine if humans learned to live the same way, to approach relationships with the same grace, to love without ownership, to give space without distance, to connect without expectation. This is what Cayce's message truly points toward. Not worshiping the cat, but learning from it. Recognizing that this creature carries a wisdom older than our words, a wisdom that speaks in silence, movement, and vibration. Partnership with your cat is not about dependence, it's about awakening. It's about learning how to coexist with awareness. When you move through life with that same energy, respecting others' boundaries, listening beyond words, living from stillness, you begin to feel the same harmony that your cat embodies naturally. The relationship becomes a reflection of your inner growth. You begin to realize that the cat isn't just teaching you about itself, it's teaching you about yourself, about how to exist without needing to control everything, about how to be comfortable in silence, about how to hold peace even when surrounded by chaos. The moment you stop trying to own your cat is the moment you begin to understand it. And in understanding it, you begin to understand life. Because life, like a cat, will not obey you. It will flow with you if you respect it. Try to control it, and it withdraws. Let it move in its natural rhythm, and it brings balance to your world. So when you look at your cat, don't see an animal living in your home. See a teacher walking beside you, a partner in energy, in awareness, in presence. It doesn't need your command. It needs your respect. And in that respect, you'll find harmony not just with your cat, but with life itself. True companionship is not built on control. It's built on understanding. Life is always speaking to you, but most people never learn to listen. They wait for loud signs, for dramatic changes, for things that shake the world before they believe something meaningful is happening. But truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It hides in the subtle, the quiet, the unnoticed. And that's where the wisdom of the cat reveals itself most powerfully. What looks like stillness, what looks like simple behavior, is often a deep reflection of energy. When Edgar Cayce spoke of cats and their connection to unseen forces, he was pointing to this very thing, the invisible world made visible through small, sacred signs. If you've lived with a cat, you know this truth. There are moments when they seem to see something you don't, moments when their eyes follow what you cannot perceive. They stare into empty corners, their ears twitch toward silence, their bodies stiffen as if touched by an unseen presence. You might laugh it off, but what if those moments are reminders? What if they are showing you that energy is not bound to what their eyes can see? Cats live in that in-between world where the physical and the energetic meet. They remind us that existence is deeper than what we perceive. When the energy in your home changes, your cat knows before you do. They feel the vibration shift before it manifests as emotion or conflict. A stranger enters your space, and your cat becomes alert, not because of the person's face, but because of the field they carry. It senses the unseen, reacts to the unspoken. That awareness is not a trick of instinct. It is mastery of perception. It is what most humans have forgotten, to feel life before thinking about it. You see, cats live by alignment, not logic. They don't question why energy feels heavy or light. They respond to it. That is their way of staying connected to truth. Humans, on the other hand, ignore that voice. We rationalize our discomfort, silence our intuition, and pretend not to feel what our spirit already knows. Yet your cat will never do that. It honors its sensitivity as strength. It trusts it completely. And if you learn to observe that, you will begin to awaken the same awareness within yourself. When the air in your home feels tense, notice where your cat goes. When sadness fills the room, watch its posture. When peace returns, watch how it relaxes again. Every action, every still moment is a message, an invitation to see energy, to feel balance, to understand the language of vibration. This is what Cayce meant when he spoke of signs from the unseen. He wasn't referring to magic or superstition. He was speaking of consciousness, the awareness that everything communicates through energy. As you become more sensitive, you'll notice how cats reveal transformation in subtle ways. They teach you that change is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's the way the atmosphere softens after forgiveness, or how silence feels lighter after a moment of truth. They sense these shifts instantly, while humans need time, explanation, and proof. But energy doesn't wait for permission to move. It moves the moment truth enters the space. When you learn to read the signs your cat shows you, you begin to live differently. You move from reacting to observing, from forcing to flowing. You begin to see that what feels random often has rhythm, and what feels quiet often holds power. The way your cat moves, rests, watches, and chooses where to be It's all communication from a world that most people have forgotten exists. And it's not just about watching them. It's about remembering what they remember. When your cat stares into the distance, it's not seeing ghosts. It's perceiving energy fields, fluctuations that exist all around us. You too were once able to feel that clearly, but the noise of modern life dulled your senses. The cat shows you how to return to it, to be silent still, and present enough to sense what moves beyond the visible. The ancients understood this. They didn't worship cats because of superstition. They honored them because cats were attuned to truth. They protected temples not only from physical pests, but from energetic imbalance. Their presence balanced fields, absorbed tension, and reminded people to stay aware. That same role continues today, only now it's happening in our homes. And the signs are all around us, quiet, subtle, and waiting to be recognized. So the next time your cat reacts to something invisible, don't dismiss it as odd behavior. Pause. Feel, ask yourself what has shifted within or around you. Maybe it's your thoughts, maybe it's your emotion, maybe it's something in the space itself. Whatever it is, the cat is showing you that everything is connected, that nothing happens without resonance. This is how transformation begins, not with force, but with awareness. When you become aware of energy, you start to see the world differently. You notice the weight of words before they're spoken, the tone of silence, the rhythm of space. You begin to move like your cat, gracefully, purposefully, and in harmony with the unseen currents of life. That's why the signs they show matter now more than ever. Humanity has drifted far from sensitivity, too consumed by the noise of survival to feel the pulse of existence. But cats have not forgotten. They are the keepers of balance in a world that has forgotten its own rhythm. So when your cat gazes into nothing, when it moves with sudden purpose or sits still for hours, understand what it's doing. It's not strange. It's sacred. It's reminding you that the invisible is always moving and you are part of it. Learn to see what they see, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. For the moment you do, you'll realize that life was never silent. It was always speaking. There's something profound about the way cats exist in the world, something that feels almost otherworldly. They move with purpose, yet without haste. They act without resistance, and they rest without guilt. They are still, yet completely alive. And when Edgar Cayce spoke about the role of cats in the energetic transformation of humanity, he wasn't speaking about some mystical symbol or prophecy detached from reality. He was pointing toward a truth that is unfolding right now. One that asks us to look at how we live, how we connect, and how we align with the rhythm of existence itself. You see, cats are mirrors. They reflect back the unseen parts of us, the energy we emit, the emotions we suppress, the balance we either hold or have lost. Their calmness is not laziness, it is mastery. It's the art of existing without unnecessary struggle. Humanity has forgotten this art. We live in constant tension, chasing time, drowning in noise, and mistaking movement for progress. But the cat teaches something entirely different. It reminds us that energy flows best when we stop resisting, when we stop forcing, and when we begin to be. When you observe a cat, notice how it conserves its energy. It doesn't scatter itself in every direction. It acts when the moment is right. It strikes when the timing is perfect. There's no hesitation, but there's also no waste. That is the essence of flow, pure, unbroken connection with the moment. Most people live out of alignment with this principle. They push against life, trying to bend reality to their will, rather than aligning with the natural current that already knows where to take them. And maybe this is what Cayce meant when he spoke of cats being protectors of energetic harmony in a time when human beings would lose touch with their own frequency. Because look at the world today. Chaotic, distracted, fragmented. People are disconnected from stillness, from awareness, from the natural intelligence that guides all things. But cats, they are still tuned to it. They bring that balance back into spaces that have lost it. They absorb chaos not through effort, but through being grounded in their essence. Their presence recalibrates the field around them. There's something to learn there. The modern mind believes that power comes from action, from control. But cats show you that true power comes from alignment, from knowing when to move and when to let go, from trusting the silence between moments as much as the movement within them. That's not passivity, it's wisdom. It's what martial arts teach. To move only when the flow calls for it, and to conserve your spirit so that every motion carries intent. If you bring that awareness into your life, everything changes. You begin to realize that you don't have to fight your way forward. You simply have to align with what is already unfolding. When your energy is calm, your environment becomes calm. When your thoughts quiet, the world around you begins to harmonize. The same way a cat's stillness brings peace to a space, your centeredness becomes medicine to the people and situations in your life. But this alignment doesn't come from pretending to be calm. It comes from awareness. A cat doesn't force peace, it embodies it. It feels tension, senses energy, and responds naturally. That's the balance humans must return to, a balance between awareness and action, between intuition and intellect. The cat isn't fighting its instincts, it's one with them. It doesn't analyze the wind before leaping. It simply leaps when the energy is right. This way of living is freedom. It's the end of trying to control the uncontrollable. It's the end of resistance. You begin to see that life is not meant to be conquered. It's meant to be danced with. You move with it like a current. You trust your senses, your energy, your intuition. You learn to listen like a cat does, to the silence, to the vibration, to the truth that exists beyond words. That's the evolution Cayce spoke about. Not a sudden shift in the physical world, but a return of sensitivity in the human spirit, a remembering of what it means to feel the energy that connects everything. Cats are simply the carriers of that wisdom, showing us the way back to balance. And right now, that balance is needed more than ever. People are waking up to the fact that the external world will never bring peace if the internal one is in chaos. They are learning to slow down, to observe, to listen to themselves, to their surroundings, to the subtle energy that guides everything. And if you've ever felt that quiet sense of harmony when your cat curls up beside you, you've already touched that truth. It's not magic, it's resonance. To live in alignment with that resonance is to live with purpose, to act with clarity, not impulse, to move with grace, not reaction. It's the essence of living consciously, of being both observer and participant in the great flow of existence. The cat doesn't chase balance, it is balance. And in observing that, you are reminded of what you were always meant to be. Calm yet powerful, still yet alive, silent yet deeply connected to the pulse of everything that is. The prophecy isn't about cats changing the world. It's about humans remembering how to live as they do, in harmony, in awareness, and in peace. In the end, the prophecy was never just about cats. It was about us, about remembering what it means to live in rhythm with the unseen forces that shape everything, to move with awareness, to act with intent, to trust the quiet intelligence of life itself. Cats have always known this. They've simply been waiting for us to remember. So when you look into their eyes, see not just a reflection of the animal world, but a reminder of your own forgotten nature, because harmony isn't something we find, it's something we return to.